Now let me bring in headlines today is Ankit and Nayan Jyoti for more on this story. Ankit, this spat has been written about. It's been written about often. In fact, they didn't sing together for decades, and it was said that, you know, the music of that era lost out a lot because the two were not singing together. It all started over royalty. Take our viewers through the reason of this spat.
Gaurav, first of all, let me put this in context. This is the year 1962. Color has just come into Indian film industry. Films are, it is an explosion of films. And then suddenly, these big budget, huge mega blockbusters have just started coming on the Indian screen. Now, when this happened, suddenly the whole money game in the film industry changed. So now the singers were getting more money for each of the songs that they were singing, whether it was a duet or a single. Now, what happened with Lata Mangeshkar and Mohammad Rafi? Both of them were #1 singing stars of their reign. Lata, of course, had been singing for a while. Rafi came in a little later. They were both #1. Now, the biggest thing was that Rafi always had this rouse against Lata Mangeshkar that she never acknowledged him as the #1 singing sensation. Lata always was the #1 and she always maintained that I am the only #1 singer. When Lata Mangeshkar brings the royalty issue from the filmmakers, what used to happen was that a filmmaker or a producer would give 10% royalty from the hit songs or the singles or the disc, the LP disc that they would produce to certain music composers. Not everybody, but some. Okay. Lata Mangeshkar, what she wanted was 5% of that, half of that 10%, she wanted that it should come to the singers. She goes to Mohammad Rafi and says that if you join forces with me, there is no way any filmmaker or any music composer will ever say that they will not give us the royalty. Fair point. Okay. Mohammad Rafi then says that, Lata, great, but what about, you are talking about songs which become hit. What about the films which flop and the songs which don't become a hit? And secondly, the other thing what Rafi said very strongly was that that his engagement with a certain film or a certain filmmaker lasted only till the point that he has sung the song and taken money from it. His professional engagement with that person ends. So he would not be a part of any of this. This spat continued for a while at the Cine Singers Association meeting, wherein Rafi at one point finally said, "I am not going to sing with you." Lata, and
that's where Lata ji is supposed to have said ki, and even in this interview, she says, I had a very fierce temper, I was far from perfect, but, you know, what is it that you're saying that you will not sing with me, I will not sing with you. Now, that became quite an ugly spat, but before we move on in this bulletin, let's listen in to some of Lata Mangeshkar's most outstanding music.
भुला न पाओगे, हाँ तुम मुझे यूं भुला न पाओगे, जब कभी भी सुनोगे गीत मेरे, संग संग तुम भी गुनगुनाओगे, हाँ तुम मुझे यूं